Oh, wait. There we go. Now I am.
You're good?
See, I forgot.
Oh, okay.
My mic was off for a second. This is so awkward. It's like we're fumbling around in the dark together because we forget how to.
I've forgotten your body, Josiah.
How did my signature moves go again?
This is a little weird for us because despite the fact that there has been no disruption in your listening, good listener.
The listener.
You
the
listener. For you, the Josiah, who I'm actually talking to right now, you and I have not talked for 3.5 weeks, which is the longest.
This is a testament to how professional. Like, I think we're ready to run a network television series. We should be given a talk show at this point.
100%. No, we're like big time professional podcaster producer boys now.
I'm like Rip Torn from Larry Sanders' Show. And I'm like, damn it, Sam. We're not going to miss an episode.
That's it. We're so committed. I feel this way about like bands who are on tour, which is obviously where I was. Where
okay, I want to say,
yeah,
I think it's really cool to go on tour. I do. And it's really fun.
Okay.
And I think it's very impressive that you guys got to go to Europe and you had such a good time.
Why are you? What is this butt that you're going to offer here?
And I noticed this about myself too, is that it is one of those things that you love to drop. Like,
oh yeah,
it's one of those things that you're like, oh, when I was on tour, I happened to.
My favorite is the people who like leave the tour lanyard on. Like on their key, their like carabiner, where you're like, "Hey man, tour's over. You haven't been on tour for 2 weeks." They're like, "Oh, I just keep forgetting to take it off." And it's like, no, you just want people to know that you were on a tour where you needed like an all access pass.
Of course, you go on lanyard tours. Also, are you're friends with people on lanyard tours?
Yeah, right. Sorry, that's right. Because you're. I guess is there no lanyard tours in the like proper kind of DIY punk trenches or whatever?
I don't think it's proper. I think the people I know in bands are usually like, I know a fisherman in rural Ontario who has a shack where he said there's an outlet that works, so we'll do a show in there.
But I think it's important that you get a lanyard for that show because, like, what if
there should be? Yeah. You don't want the riffraff coming backstage.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to control the flow of people, even in the shack. But the point is, bands all the time.
Really good book, by the way.
Yeah.
The Shack.
Yeah, but bands will do this shit where like they will like do the craziest shit to make sure that they don't miss a single show. And so you'll see people be like, we had to like empty our savings, like hold up a convenience store at gunpoint and rob my mom, but we made it to our show for 5 people in Toledo. And it's just like this bizarre sort of, I feel like particular to punk, dedication to like, can't miss the show, never missed a show. And it's like sometimes it's okay to miss a show. And maybe
you're a drama boy, right? Like, are you trying to intro the song already? Holy shit.
No, I actually wasn't there. Don't worry.
I thought you were about to drop
Imagine
it.
if I just said it.
You really have lost the moves
here. I'm just so excited that we're back together. And I'm just going too quickly here.
I don't think it's slow down. This is the foreplay section. There is like, isn't that like a drama thing too? You're a big drama boy.
Right,
like
the show must go on.
on.
It's true, yeah.
Must it though? I mean, the only reason we do it is because we don't want our numbers to fall. We want to keep getting people signing up. Actually, maybe if we skipped a week, more people would sign up for Patreon.
Oh, that's interesting. Cool. Yeah, maybe we should just like stop doing the pod and just put it all behind a paywall.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Maybe that's interesting. But we did the same thing though. We were like, we can't miss a week. So we did this insane batch recording session, which caused both of us to feel like we were sort of like losing our grip on reality.
And we didn't even do enough because, so to go even further behind the curtain, there's another curtain behind that one, and we're going to open that one now. And this is actually a funny metaphor because I was just telling you I did buy some curtains while you were gone.
That's true.
While you were on tour, my big life development is we bought some new curtains. So really, it's been big for both of us.
Sometimes we like insinuate that we've had like a little bit of a spicy sort of prologue chat before we start recording. We'll be like, oh, we can't talk about this on the pod, but oh boy, this is pretty fucked up. And like literally our pre-pod conversation tonight was like, oh man, I feel like shit. How are things with you? I bought curtains. Should we record? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it's because you asked me what was new first, which is a dumb thing to do because you're the one who just went on tour. But I think you were hoping you were waiting for someone to say the word tour, so you could be like,
so I could jump.
Oh, sorry, did you just say the word tour?
That's so interesting you said that because I was just on tour. Yeah, that's cool.
But to go even further behind the curtain, it is literally like you just got back an hour ago.
Yeah, I've been in my house for like a couple of hours. Wife of the pod, Ashley, is at a work event, and so I was like, "This is sort of the only. This is it. We got to do it now." I think like I've essentially though like lied to her because she was like, "What are you going to do?" I was like, "Oh, just relax." Because I think if I was like, "I'm doing the pod," like, she would just be like, "You're like this." This would be. Listen, I know there are people listening to this right now who know Ashley. She doesn't need to hear about this, guys. This would be something just between us, okay?
So regarding the show must go on, like we didn't even pre-record enough because you were like, oh yeah, when I get back from tour, I have plans every night somehow. Yeah. And I'm just sitting here looking at my new curtains being like, but that's all that I did.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here looking at my curtains waiting for you. But luckily you've moved things around.
Yeah, move my schedule around, prioritizing the pod.
But you're also like, I feel like I can hear a bit of hangover in your voice, specifically from pints, because you were also hanging out with all the British people.
Yeah, that's right. We were having pints, and I was going to say at the pub, but we weren't. We were at like a DIY warehouse space in the north of London, which was honestly sick. I met up with like a chunk of London Nation, and it was so rad. Everyone was so cool. I mean, it helps that everyone is there to like tell me that the thing that I do is good. So like already, like we have a shared interest, which is me. But they had a lot of questions about you, and I let them know about your sort of true nature. As a curtain boy.
What'd you tell them?
Well, I can't
the curtains?
Yeah,
I told them about the curtains.
I told them about the curtains. No, I can't say it on the pod. In order for you to find out what Josiah's really like, you have to come find me on a Junior Bells tour.
You have to book Sam a tour.
Yeah, to wherever it is you live, and I'll come and I'll give you the.
See, I feel like they shouldn't have let a lanyard man like you into a hip DIY space in northern London. Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
They should see. Oh, you have a lanyard? That's no access pass, unfortunately for you.
You're like. So what's the barricade situation like at this?
Yeah. Are you going to have adequate security? And mercifully they did, which was no security because it's fine. It was insanely sick though. Like it was like, I mean, shades of, I think, like our sort of shared experience when we did the event in Toronto. Like anytime we meet people who are like super into the pod and like have made, DIY podcast merch. In the case of one woman, Laura, who had a Blink 155 podcast.bigcartel.com shirt that she had made herself. And you're like, this is cool. This is cool. And I appreciate this. So
honestly, when it comes to the fans, they don't mean anything to me.
Dearest Mom,
I just had to temper your earnest season a little bit because I was even getting DMs from some members of the nation telling me how earnest you were being in London.
Was I being too earnest?
I don't know. They just said earnest season is in full force. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think, James showed me that. He's like, I'm making fun of you to Josiah. And it was just because, like, it was the last night of tour, and I was obviously being and it was, like, the best show of tour. And so, like, I was being very earnest on stage.
Sorry, what was the show part of?
This is getting edited out, right? This part?
Those shows you were on.
Was there
some sort of itinerary connecting all of these dates together that you played?
That was a story for just you and me. Where I wasn't trying to be cool or funny, but I was being like very like, this has been the fucking best experience of our lives. It's been a dream of ours forever, and we're so grateful. And I meant every fucking word of it. And then I got off stage, and literally James was like, I've been making fun of you in the DMs to Josiah, and I was like, fuck.
I believe that you were like that, and I believe that you did think that you were like that because it was the last night of tour. But I can also guarantee that the very first moments of tour, you were also like that.
Yeah. I'm just like living
It's
pretty
okay.
earnest these days.
You're an earnestman.
You know what? I've totally accepted it. Yeah. It was
So
cool.
I thought you're really jet lagged. You're really tired. You're
Yeah.
really out of it. I feel like it's probably a perfect time to talk about one of the worst Blink-182 songs on California Deluxe.
Yeah, this was great when I was like, okay, look, I think tonight's the night. I slept 2 hours. I've been traveling all day. I feel like I'm losing again my sort of grip on reality. So what should we do, Josiah? And you said this fucking turd. And I thought, good. At least this episode will be short. And then I thought, there's no fucking way he'll find.
Yeah, it's not going to be short.
He'll find a fucking.
I mean, you're
way.
on UK time, so I don't know. We got all we can add the time difference to how long the episode is. It can be like
Right, it'd be like an 8 hour
7 hours
episode
long.
or some
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, okay. So why did you pick this particularly horrible Blink-182 song, Josiah?
I don't know that I gave our guest, which I shouldn't be saying because I haven't recorded it yet. We've been trying not to mention the guest. This is another peak of how
'cause
professional
we've
we are.
had
We're
guest
like,
trouble.
let's not talk about the guests, and then that way they can either be there or not. But there is someone that I've been chatting up this week.
Okay.
And he's really good with like very cringy stuff. So I gave him a few options, and this was the one that he was like, "Good lord!" about.
Okay,
So
cool,
I was
good.
like, all right, that's the one.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
But then, of course, digging around, a lot of people love it.
Of course, yeah, but
So-
that's never really surprising at this point. People love trash, man.
Yeah, I know. But there's a thing floating around, I think, in the Blink-155 Facebook group about how you always, at the start of a California Deluxe episode, say that the song sucks. And then
Yeah.
by the second cover, you're like, do I like this song? So I just...
I've
I don't
also
know if
seen
you
a lot
wanna-
of things about how my voice goes up a lot of octaves when I'm like there's a cover that I think is exciting. So I'm going to try to correct all of these behaviors, everyone. Don't worry. But
You know, that's the question, right? Like when someone points out that you do something, does that mean you should actively try not to do it, or does it just mean that that's what you do and it can't be stopped?
I guess it really depends. Like, is it going to be your cool signature thing? Because everyone needs a cool signature thing, and maybe mine should be deciding by the second cover of a California
That you
Deluxe song
like
that
it.
maybe it's good. And that's just the definition of my personality and how I go through life.
I will say this. My memory of this song before revisiting it today was that I kind of liked some of it. I kind of liked the "It's a long way back to the middle of the road." I was like, that has something to it that I don't hate. But then listening to it again today, I was like, good God.
Because I think
this is
what you
awful.
like about it is the part of it that sounds like Bored to Death. Right? It's a long way back, and then it's to the middle of the road. Like, it's basically, this song is like some parts of Bored to Death, and then some parts of Flavor of the Week by American Hi-Fi. Do you remember that song?
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
it's-
I've got that written down. That's
Oh.
definitely in here. Okay, let's play that right now to see if we can hear it.
To level set, because it's the fucking same. And I realized when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, this part's not bad. And I was like, oh, no, that's just because American Hi-Fi were a sick fucking band.
Yeah, I think... Okay, also, are they a sick band? Like, have they done songs
No.
other than this one?
No, I think that was the one, but it was like the guy who played drums for Veruca Salt, right?
Oh my God, the song is called Flavor of the Week, spelled W-E-A-K?
No, that's got to be a fucking typo. There's no way.
That's on their Vivo.
Hold on.
I think that's real.
Oh, what?
Holy
no,
shit.
no.
These guys are fucking poets.
What?
That's genius.
Also, the fact that like we didn't realize that until this song came out in 2001. This was a major fucking hit.
Pre 9/11.
Pre 9/11. It's a more innocent time. And
That's where you can get away with that kind of wordplay.
Only now do we know. Also, the single art is very strange. The single art is like a girl sort of very suggestively holding a melting ice cream cone in a way that I would describe as kind of sexual if I was going to be clever about it.
I mean, I don't know. I think you're adding your own sexuality to it.
Maybe. I mean, that's just sort of my vibe, man. I just bring my sexuality with me everywhere.
Yeah, it does look like someone has come all over her hands and then given her an ice cream cone after.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I mean, where's the explanation for this? This is a huge discovery on the pod here.
Do you think we are the first people to realize that they spelled week this way? Like, there's no way anyone knew that before this moment, right?
It kind of makes sense, right? Because he's talking about her boyfriend sucks, and so she's just the flavor of the week. It's not the flavor of the week, like he's going to toss her aside and move on to someone else. It's that he's weak and he likes her.
I guess, but I wonder, like, so if you look up at least, like, on Genius, say, the lyrics. So in the lyrics, he's saying, at least according to Genius, where it's spelled in the title weak, like, to be a weak person, he's singing flavor of the weeks, like flavor of the week, like Monday through Friday, the week.
Oh, shit, yeah. But Genius, we know.
Yeah, Genius.
Oh, my God.
Well, if anyone listening owns the American Hi-Fi self-titled 2011 album and can look at the lyrics and tell us if this is sort of a clever sort of switcheroo happening, or if in the song he's even saying week, W-E-A-K. We'd love to continue this discussion over many weeks.
Are you saying weeks in terms of
Right.
many weeks, meaning in reference to us?
Yeah.
To
two weeks.
Extremely mediocre men.
Yeah. Many weeks. At least 2 weeks. Yeah.
At least 2 weeks. I mean, there's a lot of weeks in the nation as well, to be honest.
I mean, chances are, yeah, if you're that dedicated to a Blink-182 podcast, yeah.
All right, let's see how this sounds, if it sounds like whatever the Blink-182 song is called.
Boyfriend, he don't know anything about parties. Two-stone Nintendo. I wish that I could make her see. She's just the flavor of the week.
I mean, I think it's just the syncopation of the vocals that people are drawn to with that. A lot of people have pointed it out.
But I feel like it's melodically, it's like, man, nah, nah. It's like a similar melody, right?
Yeah, but here's what's a lot more incriminating. And this is, you got to be a true punk like me to know this. You probably don't know this because you're not an actual real punk. But there's an actual Simple Plan song called "You Don't Mean Anything to Me." And it's so similar.
I'll be honest, I'm not punk enough to know this song.
Yeah, see, I knew it. I knew you were a poser.
Maybe I'm just not good enough for you. And maybe I just don't wanna be like you. And maybe I just don't wanna know how low you're ready to go. I'm not gonna change, you can't make me. Whoa, you don't mean anything to me. You don't mean anything to me. You're what I never wanna be.
I mean, first of all, that song is fucking sick.
Yeah, no, but it's the same. All these songs are the same.
Yeah, yeah, it's
And they're
very-
all bad. You don't think that's like you don't think that's actually good.
No, I don't think Pierre's a good singer, but I think that Simple Plan does like generic bed track pop punk better than anyone else.
Okay.
Like it's like you listen to it and you're like, this was written with some intentionality to it, where they know what they're doing with the like guitar work and drumming. I don't know. I kind of like it.
I did not.
Apparently, it's from a Scooby-Doo movie. Also,
Yo, those movies are punk as shit.
hang on. While we're talking about Simple Plan, and this song I don't like, but this is relevant to you right now because it's Simple Plan featuring Natasha Bedingfield, and it's about being jet lagged.
What time is it where you are? I miss you more than anything. I'm back at home, it feels so far. Waiting for the phone to ring, getting lonely, living upside down. I don't even
My heart is so jet lagged. I feel like you definitely thought that to yourself at one point on tour, without question.
Yeah, totally. I actually been listening to that song a lot. It got me through some real tough times.
I think this was maybe shot at like Pearson, maybe, and I think they used this song actually for an Air Canada ad campaign.
The chorus sounded really familiar to me. This is definitely Pearson for sure. Imagine like Pearson is the fucking shittiest airport, and just like, who wants this? Also, there's like WestJet like product placement in this video.
Oh, is it okay? So it's WestJet. Yeah, it was used as a WestJet commercial. Then,
there we go. Because I recognize that. But also that just sounds like 30,000 other fucking songs. You played so much of that song, like in the middle of that.
I was waiting for my heart is so jet lagged to come on.
In the middle of that, I like truly started to feel crazy, and then I like realized that my phone was still on vibrate, and I think I've been mocked before for my phone vibrating, and like every time you message me, it vibrates. And so, like,
can everyone stop cyberbullying Sam, please?
I'm
he
so
clearly can't handle it. He's gonna start blocking us, like the boy whose name we cannot utter.
Right? Yeah. Let's be careful. No, I'm just feeling very raw right now, Josiah. So I tried to pick up my phone to mute it, and I almost knocked like an entire full thing of water onto my computer, which I've never done.
I heard a loud crash.
Yeah, that was me sort of like desperately trying to save the pod. I'm a mess is what I'm getting at, and like I cannot believe how much of that song
because
you
your
made me
heart
listen to.
is jet lagged.
It is. My heart is jet lagged. Yeah.
I honestly think there's so much to discuss about Simple Plan that I could go on forever, because it's really interesting to me too to imagine Quebec and how, let's be honest, everyone in Quebec has terrible taste.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And we sort of hinted at this before, but like it's true. And so to imagine in Quebec that this band is probably actually cool.
Right. Oh, they're very Quebec cool, for sure.
It's very interesting to me. So I feel like there's a whole dissertation that could be done about Simple Plan. But regardless,
did you like Reset? Because Reset was like a pretty good band.
I think what I've heard I really liked.
Yeah.
Like when I remember probably, let me think, 16 or 17 years ago, I went to see Simple Plan in Vancouver at the Croatian Cultural Center with Gob, and I went with my friends Bruce and Adam.
The Brits would like us to know that no one gives a fucking shit about Gob. They were emphatic about that. They were like, stop talking about Gob and stop talking
Britain,
about Grade.
You're canceled.
Those were the requests that I
canceled.
got. Yeah.
I'm happy to stop talking about Grade, but Gob is here forever.
Right.
But we went partly to see Gob, and partly because even back then we were like, let's go to this semi-ironically and laugh about it. It'll be fun. And I like cut off my socks that had stripes on them and wore them as wristbands. I went like full like Avril Lavigne music video extra outfit.
It's interesting.
And it was
that you
so fun.
Really? Well,
oh my god, nice. It was so good.
I mean, maybe you've talked a lot about how the pod seems to have sort of like, if not sort of solved your cynicism, at least sort of removed your ability to distinguish between good and bad things. But it feels like that part of you has always been there, Josiah.
Yeah, I think it's more that as I've gotten older, I've stopped pretending that it's a joke and just been like, yeah, I think I actually like that. Like, in fact, when I very first met my wife, Sarah, when we were like hanging out, I remember we were out at a restaurant and like, I think maybe the first Justin Timberlake album came on or something. And I was like, oh, I love this song, but like only as a joke. And I remember her being like, that's not a thing. Like either you like it or you don't. And it's taken me a long time to really come to terms with that. But I think it's true.
Well, thank you, Sarah, for starting you on your path to open-mindedness.
I mean, where do I go from this knowledge now? What will be next? Like, I'll just start hovering in my office and listening to Spotify alt rock mixes.
You're going to be doing like binaural beats. Like, you're going to get like full on. You're going to become a levitation man, I think. It's like your third eye is open now.
Anyways, Simple Plan are sick. Gob is the only band that we're ever going to talk about from now on.
But this song is a mixture of all of these songs.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that is that people have a theory that this song was originally... So when Blink-182 was teasing the California era, the dystopian era that we live in now currently.
Yeah.
When they were teasing it, there was a song on one of their charts or whatever. And man, could you imagine like knowing that people are so obsessed with you that anything hidden in the background of a photo is going to be picked up? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
For example, while you were gone, one story that happened on the internet was that they leaked. There was like I forget if it was like what was like the big event while you were gone?
The big cow.
That happened. But no, there was like, I think it was a Thanksgiving message or like a vote. I forget. Maybe it was to go vote, but there was a Captain Marvel image where Brie Larson was at a phone booth, and I think it was telling people to vote or something. And on the phone that she was talking on in the photo, there was like a phone number that you would have to zoom in and like use some crazy Photoshop skills to figure out what the phone number was.
You'd have to enhance a lot, like
Yeah, you'd have to be like enhance, and like tap your Google Glass that you're wearing while you do it. But people figured out what the phone number was and then called it. And it was like one of those phone numbers that's just on movie sets. That's kind of a throwaway, like 555 number. But it has since that photo was taken been bought by a phone sex line.
Yes.
So all these people were accidentally calling phone sex.
That's awesome.
But my point is, like, imagine the anxiety that, or do they just not care? But just knowing that anything in the background of your photo could be picked up. I mean, it's like that pundit guy who was looking at tentacle porn, Kurt Eichenwald or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like when Kanye revealed that he was Pirate Baying virtual studio software and stuff, like all that kind of stuff. And yet it seems like Blink-182 doesn't seem to care. They're even sharing on Instagram some scribbled ass Mark Hoppus lyrics from I think the new stuff they're working on right now. Like they love to tease stuff in the worst possible way.
Yeah, because I do think there are bands that have a lot of fun with it. I don't know how much we've talked about them, but like I always thought like some of the stuff that like Nine Inch Nails did kind of around their peak, where there was like fucking clues to USB sticks that were like hidden all over America and ways to like find new music or like weird,
right? Yeah, like Aphex Twin did a bunch of that kind of shit for a while.
Yeah, and like that stuff I always thought was like, you know, really interesting. Like they're, you know, I'm looking at it right now.
Is that called as like a big suit guy? That's an activation, right? Is that called an activation?
Yeah, that's an activation. When it's sponsored by WestJet, it's an activation. Like I'm looking at just like across me right now is like the David Blaine book, and the David Blaine book had a series.
Sorry.
Yeah. Do you want to know about David Blaine? Are you going to fucking levitate in your office, man?
I'm glad that not only do you have a David Blaine book, but it's like perfectly in eyesight.
I am always looking at it. Yeah, I'm always looking at David Blaine and a variety of Dave Bedini books. So David Blaine, who is sick, has a book that I've not read, but in it, there's like a series of clues that lead to $1 million that he buried somewhere in America. And I don't know that, I can't remember if anyone ever found it. I'll look that up next time you're talking. But it's like little tiny clues buried in the book. And there's like, so I think on one hand, it must be exhausting because you probably have to be like putting out flames, or also just like thinking very much like, do I have tentacle porn open?
What you're describing is more like intentional, but what I'm saying is Blink-182 seems so clumsy with it, where they're like, oh yeah, we may as well just post our fucking that 3-digit code that's on the back of our credit card. You know, like no one's gonna zoom into the photo. It's fine. But it turns out people do. So they found out that prior to California dystopia era that we now live in, they'd had a song called Punk Rock Cliche.
Okay.
And there's been a lot of debate over which one turned into Punk Rock Cliche, but this Reddit link that I've just sent you is someone thinks that Don't Mean Anything, it was Punk Rock Cliche, because they think that it's intentionally a song satirizing other pop punk songs.
Oh, I don't think it's that clever. Like, this is a generous reading of this song to be like, they're kidding, maybe.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that was like, do you remember when, like, Radiohead put out Kid A and some people were like, they're fucking with us now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe there's a chance that they're just like, how many just fucking, like, bloop, bloop, bloops can we do before someone is like, they're full of shit?
Yeah, and no one is that clever at all, really.
That's the thing. No one's that clever.
Like, I don't remember if I've said this on here before or not, but for example, when the show Louis came out and everyone was like, oh my God, Louis C.K.'s a genius. He's playing basically exactly him, except also he's a creep. That's so genius to do that, like, subversive thing. And it's like, no, he's just literally not being a character in any way.
Genius shit, for sure.
So, yeah, I don't know. And then people think that maybe She's Out of Her Mind was the one that was called punk rock cliche. But that song was originally called Orange County Girl. So maybe it was the only thing that matters was, I mean, punk rock cliche, first of all, that's mortifying that they would even come up with that song title.
It's like a grade 8 band song title where you're like, this one's called Punk Rock Cliche. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck off. Oh, I hate this fucking song. I'm so mad about this.
I'm so glad. It was such perfect timing. The other thing that really does make it, and I didn't realize this until I picked it, but the thing that makes it really part of a season I didn't realize we were having right now, it's Mom and Dad season.
Oh.
Because 2 weeks ago, or actually like 6 months ago or whenever we recorded it, we did Give Me One Good Reason, which opens with something about mom and dad don't understand it or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then when I was young, Tom sings about how his parents used to seem so much bigger, but now they're not. So it's really like all these songs, like Blink-182 have a lot of songs. Maybe last week's one is a bit of a stretch, but they do have a lot of songs where they address their parents directly.
Like directly, yeah. I don't know. Well, happy Mom and Dad season, Josiah.
Thank you. Yeah, and also unto you.
Yeah. How do you celebrate Mom and Dad season? What's like the appropriate gift?
I guess we got to trade parents. We got to trade one parent for the other.
Interesting. Which of your parents would be the most likely to trade?
We have to like knock them out and tie them up and fly them across the country.
Classic,
when they wake up.
Classic Mom and Dad day prank.
Yeah,
it's the only way to celebrate.
I don't know. I mean, I can't really figure out your parents other than the fact that they apparently owned a hosiery store.
Yeah,
I learned.
Yeah, it's several. They owned like a couple of hosieries.
I mean, again, that just for some reason, maybe it's because it has the word hoser in it, and I do feel like I think that your accent sounds more Canadian than mine, just because I'm so used to mine, and you have like an Ontario one.
Yeah.
So when you say hoser, I think like, okay, that's. I mean, it's just pretty funny.
Like they just
that's just a funny
sold
thing.
Like Stubbies and toques.
Yeah. I mean, your parents owned a hosiery store. I also just feel like a hosiery store is very like Amelie or something. It's very twee in my mind.
Yeah.
I feel like you might be a manic pixie dream girl.
I am. I totally am. So
anyways,
so you'll get to know them. Well, I guess you won't know them because your parents don't live in the same city as you.
Yeah, that's
so
what makes the experiment even better.
Like I'll at least get to know.
It doesn't affect me at all.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. I think this could be a delightful rom-com.
Yeah, for sure. Knocking out one
surrounding
of
a
your
hosiery
parents.
store. Anyways, it is Mom and Dad season, but especially I think, and I thought that Give Me One Good Reason started with the phrase "Mommy, Daddy don't understand it," which would have been disgusting. It wasn't true, but this one is true. That it opens with the term "Dearest Mom."
Oh my God.
Is that okay to say?
I don't think you're allowed to say that. I don't. It's not.
Dearest Mom.
Oh.
I just Googled it to see if it was like a phrase from something, and the first result is a YouTube video of a man leaning over his mom in a hospital bed.
Oh no, dearest mom! What like?
Oh my God! Look at this. This is so depressing. Dearest mom is a depressing phrase. Just read this headline of this website.
Oh no. I don't want to read this.
An open letter to my dearest mom in heaven. And it's mom with a hyphen. This is what I was saying recently about how you need to love people to be able to have empathy when you read these posts sometimes.
Right. Are you saying you don't? Is that...
I'm saying I don't know who this person is, so I can't get past the fact that she wrote dearest mom with a hyphen. I just can't...
Yeah.
That's a mental barrier for me.
I read it differently. I read it as an open letter to my dearest mom. Mom in Heaven. Like maybe Mom in Heaven is the like name of the column.
That's such a generous read.
Yeah, but then
It definitely says "Dearest Mom, Mom."
yeah, because then she opens a letter with "Dear Mom, Mom." So this is not good.
So I guess at least Mark Hoppus didn't say "Dearest Mom, Mom."
Can you imagine if that's how the song opened? I would love it then.
But, like,
I think
these
that
are,
would be
like-
enough to push me over the edge for sure.
These are middle-aged men who are still singing songs directly. And again, like, obviously your relationship with your family carries with you through your whole life in one way or another. But I still think writing like an angsty pop punk song that opens with "Dearest Mom" is something that should be stuck in the grade 8 pop punk band
Yeah.
that's singing punk rock cliche.
Maybe this was punk rock cliche. Because there's also there's like that great Green Day song, right? It's like "Mom and Dad don't look so hot." Which that's a fucking Insomniac song, right? Fuck. Anyway, you could talk about moms and dads and still have a sick song, but this is not one of them.
Yeah, because it opens with "Dearest Mom." Dearest Mom, I'm always
Brat.
here no
It's
matter
Brat,
how
right?
far gone.
Mom and Dad don't. I'll Google it later. It's fine. Go ahead. What were you saying? What's up? What's going on over there?
I'm trying to read these lyrics with you. I feel like you're really trying to sidetrack me so you don't have to dig into them.
Yeah, I don't want.
I'm on to you.
Right. I'm avoiding it.
Here's another lyric. Late at night, a million thoughts are caught up in my tree.
What?
Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good opening verse for "Dearest Mom, Mom." And then the chorus is insanely generic.
Yeah. It's nothing. I mean, this whole song is so fucking bad. It's because
However,
Or you want to get into verse 2 right now? Is that or
using the subversive read, maybe this is intentional or maybe it's just funny. But I did think it's funny that they use the phrase "middle of the road" as a lyrical
Right.
device because this song is nothing if not extremely middle of the road.
again? I think you're
fucking-
giving them too much credit here.
Yeah, I think it's just more an ironic thing that they're singing "middle of the road" in a very middle of the road song. Because that is the problem with the song is it's too bland. There's just nothing to it. It's not even like audaciously terrible like Los Angeles.
Yeah, no,
or,
totally. There's nothing adventurous
it's
about
just-
it. It's like a very like, oh, y'all want a fucking Blink-182 song? Is this one? No? Cool, let's try again.
And everyone also thinks that the opening riff is the Adams song riff sped up, which I guess is kind of true. But like, this is also just Matt Skiba trying his hardest to emulate tom guitar.
Yeah,
And
totally.
they really should have gotten Little Red Guitars too to join the band instead, I think. Because I would prefer guitar solos rather than...
Imagine this song with a guitar solo. Maybe I will be able to do that later. I don't know what you got. But
However, let's move
Verse
on to
two?
verse
'Cause
2.
verse
Let's
two,
turn our
ugh.
let's turn our Bibles to verse 2.
yeah. This is bad. This
Okay,
one's really bad. Like this.
I wanna say, first
I'm
of all,
getting mad
this-
about the song, man.
Genius is incorrect because it says here that it says "Dear Old Dad," but there's one of those like watercolor lyric videos that was not painted by Dexter Holland. That was just like I think a straight up lie that someone from The Nation sent us that we believed for a long time.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and continue to propagate it. So, in one of the Dexter Holland produced lyric videos, didn't they say his company made them? I don't think they said that he was literally like doing watercolors.
Well, you know, we really hammer these things out until they become interesting. So I'm pretty sure Dexter Holland did it himself.
Yeah, that's true. Learned to paint in order to produce the lyric videos for California. It's
They
pretty
do.
remarkable.
These lyric videos look like the scariest Rorschach test of all.
Yeah,
where it's like
the
there's
answer
no-
is always that you're a serial killer. Like where you're like,
You're
I don't know.
They're like, what does this look like to you? And you're like, it looks like the worst lyrics I've ever seen. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? I'm so sick. But in this video, Genius is being generous and saying that Matt Skiba is singing "Dear Old Dad," but he's actually singing "Dear Old Dad" with a apostrophe. He says "Dear Old Dad."
Fuck, goddamn. Oh.
He's singing basically the old gray mare, just saying what she used to be.
So, this is what I'm confused by. So, you get the dear old gray mare dad, which, like, awful. I'm the one and only son you never had.
Yeah, so is he referring to then a stepdad?
But because then he does like the most like stereotypical like I'm going out for smokes, never coming back thing. Like late at night, I hear you grab your coat and car keys. You'll be fine without me. What?
And
What?
but first he's saying, I'm the one and only son you never had. So what is, I mean, is he your dad or not? This old man.
We need
here.
We need Maury to find out. I want Matt Skiba and the dear old dad from this song to go on and have a paternity test, and then I want to see the dear old dad's not the father dance.
And okay, I guess the rhyme scheme of these verses is like A, B, C, C, because the last two lines are the only ones that rhyme. But I also feel like they don't need to rhyme. Like car keys and me barely rhyme.
It's a near
and
rhyme
just,
for sure, yeah.
And car keys is just for some reason a pretty gross sounding phrase in this kind of song. I mean, even if he grabbed his coat and his wallet or something, I don't know. I just feel like car keys is just so clumsy.
It's very
sounding.
practical. Like it's like, oh, do you have your earbuds? You know, like
he grabbed his what are
AirPods,
they called? AirPods.
Yeah, you grab. Yeah, like imagine they were getting very specific like that, right? Like
They should have gotten a sponsored.
Yeah.
They should have done an activation in here, a brand activation.
You grabbed your Swell water bottle and your AirPods.
You grabbed your Jewel. And
Yeah. Do you think anybody in Blink Jewels?
I don't know. I mean, I think Matt Skiba does all kinds of things. I just get that vibe from him.
He seems like a kinds of things man for sure.
But okay, so then it's just crazy even how nothing of the chorus it is when you look at it written down.
Yeah, like this is a full on. This might have been punk rock cliche because that's I think like they were channeling their inner like first band.
It's crazy. It don't mean anything at all. It don't mean anything at all.
It don't mean anything
I just
at
like
all.
start doing slam poetry.
And it's a long way
on
back
here.
to the middle of the road. Finding our way back home. Like it's nothing. Oh God, I fucking hate this song.
But yeah, I mean that part is so generic that I kind of a little bit like it. Something about it. I think it sounds like something else. It's a long way back to the middle of the road. It's like
yeah.
It could be the Killers actually.
Yeah.
Now that this is a Killers pod.
But the one thing is like a lot of these California Deluxe songs. And I've said this a lot. We listen to them, we start talking, and I forget how they go. Whereas this one, like every time we talk, I'm like, like I have the hook in my head.
Yeah.
But like it's just the whole song is at least like maybe underdeveloped or something. And I also have it in my head because it sounds like "Hey boyfriend, it don't mean," like it's a song that I love,
which we've since learned is probably the most subversive song title of all time.
unbelievable. Also, you know what I learned because I was like, oh, he was the drummer in fucking Veruca Salt. Hardly his most remarkable credit. Do you know what Stacey Jones of American Hi-Fi is doing right now? He's in Miley Cyrus. I was also looking at his wiki. You could just like let me fucking know what I sometimes let you have that.
No, that's a yes and not a no.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it wasn't a no back to you kind of thing.
But he is also in Letters to Cleo, which didn't they reunite in a TV show or something or a movie?
Yeah, that makes.
What was that?
I don't fucking remember, man.
There was some Parks and Recreation. They got Letters to Cleo to reunite, and everyone in that Mike Schur fictional universe where everything's good and happy all the time. In fact, I saw Lin-Manuel Miranda today congratulating The Good Place for getting season 4. So. It's all
your favorite things, man.
It's all my favorite things in one place. But anyways, I remember in Parks and Rec, Letters to Cleo reunited, and it was this huge deal. And I'm like, who the fuck is Letters to Cleo? And I still don't think they're a real band, despite what Wikipedia is showing me. That's not a real band. It's called Letters to Cleo. Come on. It's not real.
I mean, I appreciate your skepticism. Perhaps maybe this is like the Mandela effect, where there's just some people who think that Letters to Cleo was a band, and some people who just don't.
Look at the picture on the Letters to Cleo Wikipedia. It's amazing. It's
just like the person from. It's just the titular Cleo. like hanging out in an airport. Again, we're getting into like kind of
This is This is creepy how everything's sort of swirling around WestJet SpawnCon.
yeah, which is crazy because I do want to say we flew WestJet on tour, and we had some interesting experience. I'm actually not going to use this platform as an opportunity to talk shit on an airline. That's not a good idea.
Why not? I think it's great.
We had some tough times.
You're like a Lil Pump complaining about the WestJet first class.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm doing here. I'm so mad. The caviar was subpar.
Did you hear about that though? Like that's in his, or is it Lil Pump? Yeah, it is, right?
I've not been super active on the internet in the last little minute. It's been real nice.
I mean, this is from like 2 years ago.
Well, even then, I
or a
definitely
year
wasn't
ago.
paying attention.
Lil Pump, in his song Gucci Gang, he says, "Everybody scream, fuck WestJet," or something. It's a really long story. I can't even remember all the details. This was written by Josh O'Kane, actually, in the Globe and Mail.
Oh.
But basically, he got really mad. He got really mad about WestJet because they kicked him off the plane because of a Percocet or something. And he was saying something like something about like how their first class sucks. But then, and they made it into his hit viral song Gucci Gang. But then WestJet was like, we don't have first class. And so they kind of, so perhaps.
No wonder he thought it sucked. Like he's just like in the front row of like economy. Just like, this is bad, man. There's 3 seats in a row here.
I mean, flying is bad, and the problem is just like how you always want to mention being on tour. Whenever you are flying, there's always lots of things to tweet about and complain about. But the problem is everyone else is stuck at their work, and they're not traveling at all. So it's hard to complain about traveling without seeming like a dick, even though traveling does suck ass.
Yeah, it's so bad when you're in it, but it's true. I've never, despite like the rage that I have felt in various sort of shitty travel situations where you're like, this is unacceptable. How do you do business like this? Is fucked up. But like, yeah, when you're just like at your job or like taking a shit and looking at Twitter and someone's like, at United Airlines, unacceptable today in the Bahamas. And you're like, fuck off, guy. Like, take it offline at least. Like, that's not a rage that you should publicize.
I absolutely hate when you can see that someone's complaining about customer service on Twitter. Even though it works, it clearly does work.
It does work.
That's the problem. And
you have to be willing to
recently
compromise yourself. That's the thing, is it works, and you have to accept that, like, you are compromised at that point as, like, a human being. You have to have that.
As soon as I see you doing that, no matter what you look like, you have Kate Gosselin hair to me. You know?
Yeah,
like
totally.
There's no other way of doing it. But actually, I was having an issue recently where I was trying to buy movie tickets online because apparently you can do that now. But in Canada, we only have Cineplex. And where I live, for some reason, I click the buy tickets button and it just doesn't work. I've tried like 4 different computers. I've tried my iPhone and everything. It doesn't work. It's not my ad blocker. I don't know what it is. But then I was like, am I going to complain to Cineplex? So I DM'd them.
Oh, yeah.
And they never wrote back.
What?
They never wrote back. So I guess I got to do this like big performative.
You got to
like,
do a public one, yeah.
This is unacceptable.
Period.
I've been patronizing
Cineplex.
Yeah.
I will no longer operate my Tanner Z. What's his name? The guy you love so much.
Oh, I don't operate that Tanner Z fan account. What are you talking about?
Sorry.
I don't operate Tanner's _fans, both spelled with Z's at the end.
Right.
Let's get to the bridge of this. Speaking of flying, you go on a bridge sometimes to get to your plane. So let's talk about the bridge of this song. The bridge is really bad too. They're doing a lot of these things where you just say sentences that don't make sense so that you seem profound.
Yeah, I think they're just fucking filling space, man.
We all fall to the surface sometimes. You're reading this, you're like, we all fall. Okay, I get it. He's talking about a downward travel, the act of falling, gravity, and then you're like, to the surface? Wait, what?
Yeah, no.
Is he talking about? That's not the right direction. Are you crazy?
He's changing it up here.
It's like, yeah, I don't think you can fall to the surface. But maybe it's about failing upward, which they seem to be doing at this point. Because all this shit was like nominated for a Grammy. I mean, they're doing fine.
Wait, this got nominated for a Grammy?
California did, not Deluxe.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
And then, like, this song was just like deepest punk song. Most meaningful. We all fall to the surface. Like, yeah, definitely is that thing where you're just like, I'm gonna, change a word, and like now it's like poetry.
Now it's deep. Yeah.
We all fall back where we belong. Ugh. Shut up.
So it's hard to figure out what the lyrics are about. On Genius, there's some interpretations. There's also a Reddit interpretation that we may as well read. I know you're a little tired, so I'll read it to you, but you can read along,
Thanks.
little guy. This is going to be your bedtime story.
Oh, thanks, man.
So someone has written on Reddit, what do you think don't mean anything is about? Do they hate their parents or love them? I'm confused.
It's a good question.
So good.
And what do people...
Like, someone, like these people who are in their 40s writing songs about their parents, and people are like, so do you hate your parent? Like, I mean, I get that families are broken and there are a lot of like strained relationships, but it's just very funny to imagine a grown-ass man writing a pop-punk song and then someone's like, I think this guy hates his parents. It's like... It makes me think that he's putting a do not disturb sign on his bedroom door so that his parents won't barge in.
Yeah. I'm putting a lock on my door.
All they want to do is bring Rice Krispies and orange juice, but he's like, fuck off, Mom.
I'm just trying to game. I just want to play Red Dead Redemption 2.
Hell yeah, me too. That is what I want to do right now. Varick Carter 23 has said it's a song about denial, which Varick Carter 23 has capitalized to show gravitas. You love someone so much, but you say it don't mean anything because you don't want them to know you care. Similarly, if your family member or your friend treats you like a piece of shit, you want to scream that to them. And then someone has replied, "That makes sense, amigo."
Oh, nice.
But then someone whose username has since been deleted, perhaps out of shame, has written an even longer interpretation. I think it is about denial or even sacrifice. Dearest Mom, I'm always here no matter how far gone. Mark is too busy to spend time with his mom. He can't see her like he wants to, but he doesn't have a choice anymore, so he bargains with himself to say he's always there in spirit no matter what. Then he rationalizes that it doesn't matter anyways, that she's fine and they don't need to be together. It kills him inside, but it is what it is, and he can't go back and change it now. With Matt verse, it's the dad who left, and he says it doesn't really matter. He'll be fine without a father, and the father will be all right without a son. In the grand scheme of our universe, it doesn't mean fucking anything. Kids sometimes have bad lives, but on using micro view, it means so much to Matt to have his father. It's kind of the macro view versus the micro view of life. This song makes me question, does life even really matter?
Yes, now I agree.
I believe the song is also making me question that as well. Specifically, my life and Sam Sutherland's life.
Just our lives, yeah.
I believe the answer is life matters differently to different people, and some things that mean everything to someone gets lost in the grand scheme of things. It kind of parallels Bored to Death. I mean, okay, wait. Then he quotes Bored to Death, and then it says, it's that on and off switch about what really matters and how we have the ability to decide what does and does not matter. It is what drives us. Free will, baby. It ends with free will, baby.
Imagine writing... This person for sure deleted this, like, knowing that eventually this podcast would find it and, like, look at their entire Reddit history and be like, what
The
else?
pod did exist back then, so yeah.
Yeah, 1 year ago. Jesus.
They should have known better.
Yeah. Well, eventually they figured it out.
Reading this just made me think, do people who have to grade papers... I was going to say from junior high kids, but I know that most people can't write and are dumb as hell. So in general, if you have to grade papers like written by people who aren't good at writing, do you eventually have an aneurysm? Because I felt like I was about to pass out while I was reading that. It was so painful.
Yeah, being a teacher is like that's a hard job. And I think, I used to think it was because like just kids are like bad and rude and it just must be demoralizing. But it's more just that you have to be sort of constantly assaulted by these kinds of takes, but about like Ulysses or whatever.
Yeah, like it doesn't even make sense. Everything's a run-on thing, and they're like, it's about. I mean, I can't even do an impression of this because I don't understand what I just read.
Also, the idea, like this person is, Mark is too busy to spend time with his mom, blah, blah, and he's like getting really deep into the idea that this is also a very like first person, like literal song when like, I don't know, how old is Mark Hoppus? Like it's also entirely possible that like he's not mad that he can't spend time with his mom because like his mom might not be around anymore. Like they're not, they are old men writing about their parents. Like, just I think people are getting too in the weeds on this in terms of, and then Matt's got a thing about his dad, and you're like, I don't know that any of that's true, man. I think they're just filling fucking time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still stuck on the phrase "a million thoughts are caught up in my tree." What does that mean?
Well, it's just when you get fucking thought. If you never felt like there's a lot of thoughts caught up in your tree, bro.
Mark Hoppus is like, he gets really angsty, and then he goes into his treehouse and thinks about his dearest mom.
Yeah.
And his family is like sitting around their ornate rich person living room, like, where's Mark?
Like, oh,
God damn it, he's in the treehouse again.
Goddamn thought tree again.
He's playing X's and O's and like, what's that game called where you throw a ball and there's those like little metal things like jacks or whatever? He's like playing these like old timey games in his treehouse. He has a stash of Playboys that he found in the forest beside the freeway.
I mean, it sounds like a sick treehouse. Maybe I want to build one. Maybe I like.
So that's where it starts.
Maybe I like this song.
Maybe this song is actually just about the movie Step Brothers.
Yeah.
It's two grown child men who have deep set issues with their parents.
Yeah.
And they've been, and through circumstances, they've been forced together. Oh my God, Blink-182 are Step Brothers.
Holy shit,
now.
dude.
And Travis is Adam Scott's character.
He totally is. Yeah. He's just got it together a little too much in a way that is occasionally disconcerting. And beautiful abs.
I don't want to make you keep suffering before I make you suffer even more with the covers.
Fuck off. Yeah, okay, great.
However, I do want to say one more point about this.
Yeah.
We're keeping these coughs in because we're all about
it's real, man. It's
real
raw.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so adding to the douche chills that I get from this song, another photo was taken where there was like a chart of songs behind the band before they recorded California originally. Uh-huh. And this might prove that it wasn't called Punk Rock Cliche, but on this chart, the song had appeared already in the background. So there's reason to believe this song might have almost been on California, but then they pulled it.
Oh my God.
However, it was originally called, on this chart, Doesn't Mean Anything, which is grammatically correct, right? But they've changed it to be more like slang. Like, it don't mean it. It don't matter. It don't mean anything.
But does that mean that the chorus version was, it doesn't mean, it doesn't, like, it doesn't fit the syllables don't even fit
Maybe
the
it was
scheme.
like, doesn't mean.
Does it
Yeah,
mean?
it doesn't really work.
That's... Or like, maybe they were like, oh, we can sing the sort of grammatically incorrect version, but I just can't look at it. So when we put it up on this board...
Yeah, that makes more sense. I don't know, but it really is gross. Once you realize that it should be doesn't mean, then you hear them be like, dearest mom, it don't mean anything to me.
Dearest
old
mom.
dad, I'm going up in my tree. It don't mean anything to me.
Just playing jacks in my tree. Don't bother me, Dad. I don't need...
Old dad.
Old dad. Grab your car keys and your AirPods.
And then when you picture it being like that, like a dumbass greaser guy, then maybe this song is good. It's about a really stupid greaser guy who has a treehouse still. It's like when you watch Grease and like some of those actors are like, this guy looks like he's fucking 50 years old, but he's playing a high school greaser.
Yeah. So this song is about being
an
an angsty greaser in the vein of Step Brothers who lives with their parents. And then there's two greasers. It's basically Step Brothers, but with grease.
Exactly. It's like the Fonz and John Travolta, their parents marry each other.
Yeah.
It's a parent swap, as we've already established.
Yeah, because that's the season, yeah.
So it's basically Step Brothers starring the Fonz and what is John Travolta's character's name in Grease? Grease? Is his name just Grease?
His name is Joey Grease, yeah.
So it's Joey Grease and the Fonz. But they still get the parents from Step Brothers to reenact their roles.
Yeah.
It's just like
for continuity's
it's a partial
sake.
reboot.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And okay, so Adam
that's what this
Scott is
song
replaced
is.
by Travis Barker.
Yeah. But it's still Mary Steenburgen and that other guy. What's that guy's name? He's always serious.
He's good. Yeah, he's a cool old guy. And then Catherine Hahn or whatever, is that she's
still in it.
She's still in it. Wouldn't wanna
Everyone
lose
is still
her.
in it except Blink-182 has just replaced those three people.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah, and also Feldy. he's the neighbor. So they've just added a neighbor who's like a chill. He's a dentist. That's why his teeth are so white.
Okay, yeah.
I gotta say though, Step Brothers is truly a perfect, like it's almost completely perfect, and it has aged so well, unlike
aged
pretty much any comedy.
Really fucking well, yeah. We watched it actually one night on tour.
Sorry,
which was it's pretty sick. But yeah, it's a whole thing. It's fine.
Oh yeah, actually, I forgot to ask you about one thing about tour.
Yeah.
So what's it like to go on tour? No, just kidding. How mean were you to Joel?
Dude,
be
I
honest.
was honestly like an angel to Joel. I was like so sweet to him. I like tucked him into bed every night. I made sure he knew that he was appreciated and loved. I'm a new man, a new kinder man to my Joel. So don't ask Joel. Let's not check in with Joel and see if he agrees. But
I mean, he sounds like a terrible guy, so I don't want to. But I believe you.
Yeah, definitely, he's a fucking piece of shit.
He sounds annoying as all hell.
Yeah, you don't want that. But no, I was like truly, I think because we talked about it and you were like, oh, I'm going to check in and see how terrible you were. And I was like, man, now that I'm verbalizing all the things that I do that are awful to like the nicest person I know, I should stop doing them. So it's actually the pod, despite mostly taking from my life, has at least, I think, given me a more positive outlook and approach to sort of, working alongside my friends.
Wow.
Yeah.
You must have really, I think our conversations really just got to you in your tree, and that's why you've been thinking about them so
That's
much.
what it is, yeah. They sort of, they got up in my thought tree and just tangled up in those little thinky branches. Those mind twigs.
It don't mean anything to me here in my tree. It's like Andrew Dice Clay in A Star Is Born, which I feel like you probably still haven't seen.
I
which you
did
gotta
see it, and we should do our exclusive about it. We can talk a lot about Dice.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
It took me a minute to realize that was Dice, because I was like, this guy looks a lot like Andrew Dice Clay, but he's like old, and Andrew Dice Clay is always like 40 instead of like 60 or whatever the fuck he is. Anyway.
Also, like, man, if there's one thing nerds fucking love, it's Andrew Dice Clay.
Is that a thing for nerds?
I think
The
so.
Dice
I think
Man?
people who like Evil Dead too much also love like sort of ironically pointing
Do you
out.
think it's just rhyming? Like Evil Dead sort of playful? And they're like, hickory dickory dock, dearest mom was up in my tree stock. Fuck.
I think people who love Evil Dead love to be like, Andrew Dice Clay is so sexist and terrible, but like they also love him truly, but they pretend that they have this like ironic detachment. It's great.
That's sick.
Man, I'm so glad that I'm free from irony now.
Yeah, you're living a good life, man.
All right. I'm going to start with a cover that might make you say, oh, is this song good?
Yeah. Shouldn't that be cover 2, though? Isn't that technically cover 2 where I go?
Okay, let's go cover 2. But honestly, there's not that. Okay, I'll start with a really annoying one.
Okay, sick.
And actually, this is good because you were just in Europe. And I got to warn you, actually, we really need some people to step up and start covering California Deluxe songs because it's pretty much the same offenders every time.
Right.
And especially this guy is always fucking haunting me. This fucking Seb Sedobra guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's always here. I don't know why he bugs me so much. I think part of it is that he just reminds me a lot of Liho Diho because of his accent.
Right. And so you're like convinced that he's kind of racist?
Yeah. And like, I mean, pretty much I think all Europeans are low-key. Like, they invented racism, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it's true.
In that way. But yeah, I don't know. So I just kind of feel weird about that. But then also this one, he's completely changed the melody of the song. But I don't know if it's better. I don't know. So here's Seb Sedobra. And he's playing with a real drummer here because he said his programmed drums sucked ass. And he also said, thank you guys for waiting and sorry for the, quote, silly parts. I just couldn't take him out. I didn't notice any silly parts earlier, so hopefully... Let's keep an eye out for that as well.
Let's see how silly it gets. Okay.
That's Seb Sedobra.
Dearest mom, I'm always here no matter how far gone. I'm alright without you.
mean, there are parts that I think are silly, which is all of
Yeah.
it, and the very existence of it. But I think I saw one part where he thought he was being extra silly.
Yeah.
He was sort of doing like a little jig.
Oh, just having a fun time playing this awful song.
I realized another thing that makes me a bit uncomfortable about him is that he occasionally reminds me of present day Corey Feldman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's very
And that is
Feldy.
just too much to be thinking about right now.
Yeah, like you don't want to add thinking about Corey Feldman to everything else that's happening in your head. Where you're
The combination of John Feldman and Corey Feldman is too unholy that no brain
too
can
much
handle it.
Feld. Yeah,
No one wants that in their tree.
there is none more Feld.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, didn't it seem like he kind of changed the chords and everything too?
Yeah, it was like it somehow sounded even more like American Hi-Fi.
Yeah.
Like it just like, oh god, it's so. Especially now that we've been talking about the lyrics and I'm actually having to fucking listen to them. It's killing me, man.
All right. Well, this is the one that I think kind of redeems it a little bit because it's actually just a guitar cover, but it's multiple guitars, and I think it sounds really nice. It almost starts to sound a little bit like the fucking Champs to me or something, which
Okay.
I really love. Like it's just a nice guitar vibe. So here we go. This is from Juan P. Green Day. Did this best with headphones on. Well, sorry Juan, but that's not happening. Like there's so many nice guitar parts happening that it drowns out the vocals and the whole Blink song, and then it kind of just feels like you're listening to a cool all guitar band.
I totally agree. Yeah, that I was like totally fine with it. So you're right. No,
also
that's it.
think-
Cover two. I'm like pretty good, honestly. Yeah, maybe I like the song.
That's a kind of band that I wish there was more of, like just all guitar, like just all
Yeah,
riffs.
totally.
No, don't write your shitty lyrics. Don't like I think we've talked about before how Diarrhea Planet had like 10 guys in it, and the guy they chose to sing sucked at singing, and it kind of was like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
But if that band was instrumental, or like fucking Champs Are Sick, or there was this band called Ecstatic Peace that was a side project of Ponytail, or Dustin Wong was in that as well. And it's just like sometimes I just want to hear riffs.
Well, dude,
like
did
it's
you like
cool.
Fang Island at all? Which was like a bunch of
Yeah.
the dudes from Daughters. And the thing that sucked about the second Fang Island record is that they started singing more on it. And like the melodies are good and the singing's fine, but you're like, no, the cool thing was like just like the straight up like riffs. And there's another sick, like all instrumental, all riffs band from Ireland called Adebisi Shank. You ever fuck with that band? I saw them at Sled Island
No.
for the first time. That's how I heard about that band.
Wow.
Yeah, Calgary Connect, man.
I mean, yeah, I just think there could be more of that. But then again, guitars are dead because everyone's all about their little pump and their little WestJet disc.
Let's become like real like raucous. Just be like everyone's so obsessed with rap music. No one gives the proper respect to guitars that they deserve now.
I did this too quickly that I'm trying to think of like how I want to vibe with these. Like I kind of think they're all a little bit good almost.
Okay, we'll just
So maybe I'll just keep going. I mean, we've had there is a bad one coming
Okay,
up,
good.
but let's do this one. I mean, this is like irresistible yet again. It's a teen in their room. The username is first name last name, which I think we've played before.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure this person's British because they've written apologies for the dodgy low notes. I'm not Mark.
yes.
I mean, I did read it that way, obviously, but it's kind of hard not to when you see the word dodgy
Yeah,
like
totally.
that. But this is like a great teen bedroom. I'll play it first, but then we can talk about the bedroom. mean, this can't be argued with, in my opinion.
No, that's fucking great. Like,
It's like a punk teen.
That's the thing.
Playing a classical guitar in her room, and there's like the best punk teen thing to do is write on your wall with pen.
Yeah.
Like that's so classic.
there's also an Offspring sticker on the wall, like almost out of frame, but like quite fortunately in frame. And even like the sort of like kind of bullshitty cliche parts of the song don't sound that way when it's a teen, because you're like, I'm not judging. Like I have different standards, to be honest, right? Where I'm like, yeah, cool. Like this kid is mad at her parents. Sick.
Yeah, but then that makes me wonder, are Blink-182 still very good at writing songs that resonate with teens, or are they just the most accessible by teens, and teens find this and love it because it's like pablum for them?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like my, recent live experience with Blink is that mostly it's people our age. Like, I don't know that this is an exception a little bit in terms of like a fresh teen coming to the fold.
A fresh teen. God, nothing better than a fresh teen.
No, fresh teens in the fold, baby. So like, in this sense, like, and I think but that might be part of why, like, every time we shit on one of these new songs, there's someone being like, this is the first Blink song I heard and it's my favorite. And we're like, how is that possible? And like, when you're a kid, you just like things like, even now I still mostly prefer to listen to and watch things that are like new. And so, this is this kid's like connection to the band. And I think it's sick.
Yeah. Like she's probably never heard Flavor of the Week.
No,
or
for
the
sure.
Simple Plan song from the Scooby-Doo movie. So
The kids do not respect Scooby-Doo.
She doesn't have the same punk rock context that I'm referring to that me, a seasoned punk, have from the Scooby-Doo soundtrack.
But that like me as a poser wasn't aware of. So she's more of a poser like me.
Scooby-Doo soundtracks are like the Killed by Death comp of my generation.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, people talk about Flex
All right,
Your
well-
Head, but they're really talking about, Shaggy and Scooby. That's more important.
I do feel like this teen is almost too perfectly teen with her blue hair and her room and her writing on the wall and everything. But then there's this teen video covering it is more realistically teen, where I feel like I can smell milk breath from just looking at this video.
Well, these teens have very British teen faces. I don't know if they are British, but especially, like, they just look so small.
I know they do. They definitely look like they're from the Shire.
Yeah, exactly.
But these are two teen boys, and the ultimate teen boy thing to do is to start a band and come up with a band name that's the most generic band name ever, and then make a YouTube channel for it where you just do like unplugged acoustic covers, but you've already like come up with a logo and a band name, and you keep saying like, oh, we're gonna record our album soon or whatever, and then one of you like gets a girlfriend and never talks about it again. But
Did this happen to you, Josiah? Like, it feels like
no, it actually hasn't. But
detailed.
I've just through traveling YouTube, I've pieced it together. This narrative always exists, and this band perfectly has the name Endless Holiday.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the perfect teen band. One summer, they never do anything with it again. But so let's hear Endless Holidays cover of it.
Without you, and late at night, a million thoughts are gathered in my dreams. You're right, without me, something anything at all, something.
So I was trying to figure out what the deal was with them, where they're from, because it sounded like he had a bit of an accent. And then on the About page, it said that they're in the United States, and then it linked to a Facebook page
for Pushing the Limits band.
For Pushing the Limits band. So presumably, as I mentioned, one of them probably got a girlfriend or something happened where they decided they don't like music anymore. They're actually into sports. And so it all fell apart. So they changed the name to Pushing the Limits, but now that page is gone too. So I mean, this is just the ultimate story of lost rock.
And as we've established, we can't lose any more rock because it's the only real music. These kids probably all listen to rap now. They have some fairly popular Shawn Mendes and Taylor Swift covers.
I mean, I don't doubt it, but, it all fell apart. They pushed the limits a little too far, and the endless holiday came to an end.
Right. So you have to admit, despite the fact that you no longer appreciate or partake in irony, there is some irony in that statement.
There is. I mean, I can still acknowledge it, but I don't like it because I would much rather if they were discovered by Simon Cowell and got famous. That's the path that I like now. But you were sort of saying that Blink-182 to you is more about like people in their 30s who are sort of maybe reliving the past or something.
Again, I'm just trying to use, context clues of, although that said, like, I mean, I had a very brief conversation with Ashley before she left, and I sneakily started doing the pod where I was like talking about meeting people in London, and one of her questions was like, how old are the people who listen to the pod? And I was like, I feel like mostly they are like in their 20s. Like, I felt like the people I bumped into were like definitely younger than me. I don't know. I didn't card anyone.
There's a lot of teens as well. I've noticed there's a lot of teens.
Yeah, like
that like
I just assume everyone like, because so much of this podcast is like this is meaningless and our lives are shit. Like, and I just feel like that attitude sometimes, is one more commonly found in people sort of in their 30s who have given up. And instead there's all these hopeful young people listening to the pod and maybe the band, and I don't understand how that happened.
No, but I think you're making the mistake that people who listen to the pod listen to the band.
Okay, you're right. Maybe that's it.
That's the difference.
Okay.
But anyways, well, all of that was in a moment where you could have just done yes and instead of sort of arguing with me and ruining my segue. But what I was saying was the picture that we have of a Blink-182 guy being in his 30s, being sort of dreams dashed, but he can't let go of his past. Just go ahead and look at this guitar cover because to me this is the ultimate.
Oh my god.
So this is
oh dude, no.
So this is Simon with a Y, and then I think that's an I. Is that I-E-R-O?
Eero?
Simon Eero.
Yeah.
This has so many views, actually. Is this guy like a tuber?
He's got 4K subs.
He might be a bit of a tuber.
This is like the opposite of kind of the earlier first name, last name video where we were like, yeah, this room is sick. This is a cool room if you're a teen. This guy's room is not a cool room if you are his age, which looks a lot like our age. So
yeah, he has like a much better 5 o'clock shadow than I will ever have.
Like this is a fully grown up man with full sleeve tattoos who's playing,
and he's wearing, I think it's Nightmare Before Christmas
pants,
boxer shorts. They're not pants.
Okay.
It zooms out and you're like, oh, this guy's wearing boxers. And like I remember there's been times where I've been like, damn, these boxers are cool and they're very baggy. I wonder if I could convince people that they're like swim trunks and just wear them. But you can't. Everyone always knows that your balls are just right there.
Yeah,
breathing.
Everyone knows where your balls are.
But speaking of me, this guy does have a lot of Funko Pops behind him. He's got like stacks of graphic novels and
like a Batman
Disney toys
logo speaker or something.
And I feel like this is truly what life is like if you completely, sincerely engage with loving pop punk.
Oh yeah.
And you're old. At some point, and I know that I'm saying I'm over irony, but there is irony of like being old as fuck and still liking pop punk. There has to at least be some nostalgia or some self-awareness in the lens, but this has none of that. It's just like, yeah, check out my sweet setup.
Yeah. Some blinking lights, like, oh yeah. This is...
I mean, I don't even remember if his guitar is... Of course. But like, it's so classic to have 2 cameras and have a perfectly set up room with blinking lights, everything, and then just like be slightly out of tune and play the riff wrong a little bit.
So I'm also pretty sure that we maybe did this guy on the Cynical episode, because when I clicked to his page and just looked at the most popular video, I had already watched it. And the likelihood of me watching this on my own, it looks like maybe the same room from a different angle, where now he's facing the door, where we can see that he has a Breaking Bad poster.
Oh my God.
That is Walter White, hat on, sunglasses on, and it says, "I am the one who knocks."
Yeah, and this one he's wearing one of those cab driver Newsies hats.
Yeah. Oh God, this guy's
He's amazing.
sick.
I wonder if he does like room tours or anything.
yeah. You should.
Don't get me wrong. Like I think this guy sucks, but I also love him and I'm obsessed with him now. So.
Yeah, all those things could be possible, man.
It's weird how like there's people who I've known people like this before who are just like they seem like they just took all of the aesthetics of transplants and applied it.
Yeah,
to
they're
their
like,
look.
this is good.
Do you think he works at like a GameStop or something, or like EB Games?
Yeah, he's definitely EB Games vibe for sure.
His bookshelf is shaped like Batman. Did you notice that?
Oh, that's cool.
Look at this one. It's like literally like it's in the Batman shape. That's where his books go.
Never not Batman, baby. What? He books into Batman.
Books are in the Batman.
And he has
like
also in this angle you can see that he has a Buzz Lightyear figurine, and in the other angle you can see he's got a big plush Woody.
and he has the Blink-182 self-unentitled is right on display in there.
Yeah, he's cool.
This guy's really interesting. I wonder like what he's like at like family dinners, like get-togethers.
He's probably just like aloof and like, oh, I'm sick of this. We should get him on. This guy should be a guest for sure.
I also think those aren't books. They're DVDs.
Oh yeah, that's definitely where all of his like Family Guy DVDs go.
He like has like every season of Lost on DVD on display in his Batman shelf in 2016. I mean, look, I don't want to be a bully, but like this guy deserves to be bullied a little bit. Bullying is good. Let's be honest.
Bullying has a place, man, and it's on the pod.
All right, there's 2 left. We're just motoring through here. I don't think this song is going to save itself in the covers, but my good friend Lucas D, with whom I am Facebook friends, he teamed up with Tiago Contieri to cover the song. And what I think is kind of cool about Lucas is that he does these like international covers. So this is the guy with like the Proclaimers voice.
Oh,
that we've had before.
okay, cool.
Yeah, so here, there's a nice intro on this one, too. It might not be in English, or maybe it is. I don't remember. Let's just watch.
Okay, cool.
E aí pessoal, tudo bem com vocês? Meu nome é Thiago Contieri e hoje eu tô aqui para fazer.
Okay, hey guys, what's up?
I mean,
my name is
there's
Tiago Contieri.
subtitles.
Today I'm here to record a video, and I'm not alone.
I was thinking we could just enjoy the
Eu
subtitles.
tô com meu
Because
amigo Lucas lá da Alemanha.
Danke, Thiago. Ich bin wirklich, wirklich froh, wieder
another
mit euch
visual
interagieren zu
thing.
dürfen. Wenn euch das Video
I
gefällt,
mean, they're really not saying, they're mostly just saying, like, we're doing a video together. You know, there's some spicy stuff about Palestine, but it's not too much. Just kidding. There's not, Lucas. I'm just joking. Please don't unfriend me. Here's the song part.
Dearest Mom, I'm always here no matter how far gone. I'm alright without you. Late at night, a million thoughts are caught up in my tree. You're alright without me. It don't mean anything at all. It don't mean anything. And it's a long way back to the middle of the road.
I mean,
I have a few thoughts
okay,
here.
yeah.
First of all, that guy on the right is wearing one of those, like, horrible leather jackets that's absolutely not Greaser Step Brothers leather jacket. It's more like Tom DeLonge leather jacket. I hate those leather jackets.
They're bad.
He also has one of those, like, Homer Simpson Duff plaques on his wall. I think it probably says, like, alcohol, the cause of and solution to.
Yeah.
You know. But But I think that new Blink-182 is perfect music for like these YouTube guys who have crazy high-end mics so that they can just like into the camera. And so maybe that's who this is for like YouTube singer guys. It's not like punk music.
No, that's interesting. I mean, look at Blink knows that like they can monetize all this, right? So like if they make music that's just like, it doesn't matter if each of these videos is only getting a few thousand views. Like cumulatively, if you target the YouTube singer community, that's got to be meaningful AdSense revenue for you. And in that sense, I'm supportive of this new direction because, I respect business.
Right. The other thing I wanted to say, and this is not just because he approved me on Facebook, I really do think that how desperately uncool Lucas D's voice is, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like there's some
and he's
true
just like kind of a
emotion
sweet
to
dork
it
too. Like he's just grooving. He's got like a real like a Tuesday at the office sort of baby blue button up shirt on. Like he looks like a bank teller who's just like grooving really seriously at karaoke. Where you're like, I didn't know
the way
Lucas could sing like that.
The way he belts it out is truly like its own thing. Like he has something there.
Yeah, totally.
He's
got a voice, man.
I don't know.
He has a voice. He has found his own voice, and I appreciate it, even if the song that he's singing is still bad.
A Star Is Born. Okay, well, because it's still bad, I'm gonna do us both a favor, and instead, I'm gonna end with a cover of Simple Plan's Don't Mean Anything.
Sick.
This is from SoundCloud. It's uploaded by Luigi Mario 64, who is a very teen-looking teen.
Yeah, that's a teen name and a
just,
teen look. I love it.
He's just teening it up on here. And so, yeah, let's hear what Luigi Mario 64 did with this.
Maybe I'm just not good enough for you. And maybe I just don't wanna be like you. And maybe I just don't wanna know how low you're ready to go. I'm not gonna change, you can make me. Whoa, you don't mean anything to me. You don't mean anything to me. You're what I never wanna be.
I love it.
That was fucking
so
great. That's the highlight of the episode. Like now I like the song.
No joke. I bet you that is exactly what Matt Skiba and Mark Hoppus sound like before John Feldman puts auto-tune on their vocals.
Totally, yeah. They just like started up and they're like, okay, cool. We'll do some edits. It's fine. You guys can just go get a coffee. Just go hang out for a minute. Come back. Yeah, that sounds good. That's great. Fuck, that was sick. That dude's awesome.
Yeah, he has like songs about Nintendo and stuff. He seems cool.
I mean, also like just like a great reminder of how these songs are totally the same. Because it started and I was like, that's a little bit of a different. Like I'd forgotten already what we were listening to. I'm not sure it's he's made some significant changes, but yeah, sure. So Josiah,
before we end, I just want to say this. I just want to say whoa, because I forgot that the outro of this Blink-182 song does have extraneous whoas. You think that you've made it to the end, and then there is some
and then
sort of
they
whoa
drop him in.
part.
So just like this pod, I get it. You should tag that on
Yeah.
again after the guest intro. Or do the guest
okay.
and then do like add some woes at the end. It's like a sweet tag. The people who listen all to the end will like forget about it by the time they get there.
Except if they've heard this
No,
part.
but they'll be
might
like, oh, that's funny. But like in 10 minutes, they're going to forget that this conversation happened.
But what if I keep this part of the
No, you
conversation
do. Keep
as
this
well?
part in. Keep everything in. Don't lose any of this, man.
Like, what if I just, after I paste in the guest part, I just repaste the entire
I think you
episode
should do
after?
that. Just start it all again. So, Josiah, what are your final thoughts on Doesn't Mean Anything by Blink-182?
It don't mean anything. Look, I've been up here in my tree thinking about it all day. I don't know. It kind of sucks. The song sucks ass.
Yeah. That's fair. So my final thought is this song sucks ass, but it was really nice to reconnect with you after these so many weeks, and given my kind of hobbled mental state, I appreciate. I think it's fairly obvious that you did a lot of real real heavy lifting on this comedically, doing an impression of Andrew Dice Clay mixed with Joey Grease in a fucking.
I've done a lot of impressions.
Like,
I even did a Rip Torn impression that I don't think was really good.
No, but yeah,
it didn't sound like
you
him.
just
But
go into the wall. You're like,
you are the impressions guy. I've noticed. Like low key, you're always pretending that I'm the funnier one and you're the one who reacts. But you do impressions, which I agree is also not very funny.
Exactly.
Impressions are generally not funny, but you do them.
Thanks.
Welcome to the pod, Kyle Mabson. What's up?
Hey, hard chilling over here.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, absolutely.
You're kind of like, I mean, I literally don't know you, but you are, I would say, one of the most online people that I know of, at least. You have a very unique perspective online, I think.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. All right.
I mean, I guess specifically the main thing, I know you've done a lot of things over the years that have caught my attention, but the main thing is your current, I'm going to call it a practice because I view you as an actual artist, but the art that you're making right now is next level. It's crazy.
Thank you. That's a good, I'll take that as a good thing.
It absolutely is. I mean, so maybe let's try to explain it since it's not a visual medium for what you get up to.
I guess it's hard to explain. It's just pretty much what you're talking about are the things I make that are kind of just collages of just stuff that I like in some way. Whether it's something I actually like or something that I just like the look of, or just a gathering of things I like, I guess.
So they're definitely collages, and you'll post these, but they're more like, I mean, people have to follow you. I mean, I feel like usually we do the plugs at the end, but if no one has followed you yet, just like pause the episode for a second and hit up. It's selfies. What is it on Instagram again?
Selfies, food, and pets with a underscore between each word.
And then what's your Twitter as well?
Underscore Mabson underscore.
And so that's it feels like you're sort of entering the subconscious of like pop culture or something. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's a fair assessment.
What's like the vibe that you start with when you're about to make one? Like, does it just come to you at once, or because I noticed that you use like disparate elements that are so opposite, and like I hate to use the word random, but they do feel kind of randomized in a way. Like there's never like a clear theme, at least at first. It's always so opposite. So what's like, do you say like, oh, I've already used a new metal guy, so I need to make sure I use a pop star or like a web browser? Like what's your process?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't like to use anything that are going to be of the same genre in one thing that are going to necessarily naturally go together. I want to mix it up and have things that you wouldn't think would go together off the top of your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any other sort of like guiding narrative or thought to it, or is it just kind of like just subconscious?
I think it's subconscious. Like it's very rare that like I'll start making a thing and know totally what I'm going to make before I start it.
Right.
Like it's usually like I start it and I'll just be like, oh, maybe this thing, or I'll think of something else. And yeah, I usually don't have an idea when I start.
It's like, it's so good. Normally I don't like fawn over people like this, but it's like, it's so good. It's my favorite. It's truly my favorite images. And it kind of like exists outside of the meme realm. We've had a lot of memers on here, but I think it really is like, you should have gallery representation, in my opinion.
I don't think I don't know if this is getting too like weird, or I don't want people to think that like I think something of myself or something, but I don't think what I'm doing is memes, because there's no joke and there's no like really like text or anything like that. Like there's not really a joke that goes along with what I'm doing, I guess.
Right.
aside from whatever you may gather from it.
Yeah, it's so open to interpretation, and I like that you're saying that you kind of just like go with what feels right, because
Yeah.
also if there was any form of like criticism in what you were doing, then it would immediately feel corny. If it was like, oh, pop music is bad.
I know, like sometimes like people will comment like, "Oh, this is like a hot take or something." I'm like, "No, no takes here of any temperature." Just- yeah.
And then another thing you used to do all the time was your like Mabson compilations on Bandcamp.
Yes.
And that I remember some of those. I mean, I would try to listen to them all the way through at work, and I would start to feel physically ill about
Yeah.
15 songs in. But
I bet.
what was the concept of those?
Um, just like I would hear. Well, at first it would be like I'd hear a song like a bunch on the radio, and I'd be like, it'd be funny if just everyone covered or like made a remix of this one song, and there were just like 20 versions of this song that would all be weird and different. And yeah, that was basically it.
And then there would be like noise artists, or like I know Dan Deacon was on the Call Me Maybe compilation, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So it would just be like, yeah, I mean, it truly was punishing to try to listen to it all. But I think as I talk about it, I think that really has inspired even this podcast, where it's like, let's just overanalyze this until we feel a little bit sick and grumpy.
Yeah, exactly. That's like a good thing.
But yeah, the general consent, or the general sense I get from you and what you do, is that maybe like, how do you feel about irony, or like liking things as a joke, or any of those sorts of vibes? Like, do you do that? I get the sense that you're the kind of person who just like likes things even if the world thinks they're bad.
I do. I like things that I feel like so many, like a lot of things I like, people, or a lot of people like look at the stuff I make or something and think that I'm doing it in an ironic way. But I just really like pop culture and all kinds of music things and all kinds of stuff. There's no, I don't think like any of the stuff is like super or like too ironic. Like I'm in.
Like, for example, because you're also another huge thing, if people don't know, is you're one of the people who really popularized the Bad Boy Weekend on TikTok.
I think I am. Yeah, I was the one who really got that going as a thing, which is a very wild thing. But yeah.
How did you find that, first of all?
Just browsing from what at the time was Musically before it became TikTok. That was one of the things that I would see come up every now and then, that like trend. And it was just like such, I don't know, I just loved it. I loved like dudes becoming like what they thought was like the coolest version of themselves, which was obviously most of the time not cool at all, but in that, I don't know, it was really good. And none of those, or not none of them, but a lot of those people weren't doing that, ironically, obviously also.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the appealing thing to me at first about TikTok and all that, which kind of is the reason I don't really participate in that anymore, because now it's such a thing that now it is more people being, ironic and doing stuff for like jokes, as opposed to just going on there because they really need to like lip sync this Falling in Reverse song,
Yeah. But I mean, even with that, like, do you like Ronnie Radke?
That's a controversial question, because he's a controversial person, obviously.
Yeah, there's some sketchy allegations that I've read about him.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of the music that is very amazing, and like, I think no matter how, even if you like it or don't like it, there's like so much like Falling in Reverse stuff that's so like insane that if you listen to it, you have to be like impressed. Even if you hate it, it's just like, it's a very wild thing. I don't know how deep you've gone in on Falling in Reverse.
I've gone pretty deep at some point, but I think it's just what I see in you is like what's happening to myself even through this podcast. So for example, probably 6 months ago, I was making fun of Imagine Dragons on Twitter, and then the singer of Imagine Dragons saw it, and then
Yeah.
he like, I was like, "Do you want to hash this out on my podcast?" And he's like, "Okay." And so he came on the show, and like,
Yeah.
we had a like crazy sincere conversation, and then he's
Yeah.
like, he's my friend now. Literally, like I DM him all the time, the singer of Imagine Dragons, and then now because of that, I see his music differently, and now I kind of like it, and now this like context is making me like Imagine Dragons, and so I'm kind of like losing my mind.
I'll say this, like, yeah, for the most part, like listening to Imagine Dragons, there's like, it's not for me, but like, it's definitely like, there's things that are like so weird about it that it's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
And, like,
and it's like
it's hard.
it's people being passionate. They're passionate. There's like an authenticity to it that is not necessarily there with things that are like self-awarely cool.
Yeah. Like, did you ever hear like that mashup of like them like playing with like the Khalid song?
No, I didn't.
That's a thing to check out. That's like so like, oh my God, what the fuck is this? But it's like, it's amazing because it's so weird. That's something you should go in on. I can't remember which Imagine Dragons songs, but it's still at young high school kids. Dun, dun, you know that Khalid song? This is like
yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'll definitely check it out. But I guess what the point I'm trying to make is like, I grew up being a snob. Like everyone I knew was like a snob and all about being cool and having good taste. And then I started liking things, as I said, ironically. But now I'm at this point where like I've lost all sense of objectivity, and I just kind of can see the value in everything. And it's a very confusing and exciting way to view the world. But I feel like you're already there.
I think that's a lot of people now. I feel like I think you're around the same age as me, and I think a lot of people around that age. It's a different thing of people who are like a few years older than us, like maybe 5 to 10 years older than us, grew up and like think like if you were cool, you had to like listen to like alternative shit, and it wasn't like acceptable to like things on the radio and stuff. And I feel like people nowadays, younger than us and like about our age, is probably, I guess, about where it started to change this, where it's like okay to be like, oh, like I can listen to Pig Destroyer, but also like what's on TRL and like watch TRL, and that's like fine.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't think before like this like half generation or whatever we're at, like that was acceptable. You couldn't really do that. But now it's like that's a thing that a lot of people I know like had like a similar experience to that were like everything is fine. Like you can listen to the radio and it's cool, but like a few years older than us, that's like was not acceptable being young, you know?
Totally. And when I see like sort of Punisher record collector snob types hating on something, then I just want to try to make myself like it now. Like I've tried very hard to like Greta Van Fleet, for example.
That's a tough one. Me, I'll say that's a tough one.
Yeah, it didn't really work, but I was almost there. I was almost ready for it, but
yeah, that's like that's like too. They're like also a thing that's like there's so many levels to that, where it's like yeah, like obviously like snob people hate it, but it also it's like I get that because what they're going for is yeah, it's tough. They're a tough thing, yeah.
So you've told me you're born and raised in LA. Like, at what point did you start, say, going to shows or whatever?
When I was maybe like 13-ish.
And
13.
Like, how did you get into that sort of world?
Oh man. Well, I remember. I feel like the first like big show I ever went to was Warped Tour between 8th and 9th grade, and I just wanted to rage when I was young in junior high on Channel 10, which is like a public access channel here. They had a few shows. One of them was Punkorama TV that Epitaph did.
Whoa.
That yeah, this was a thing in LA that a lot of people don't know about.
Damn.
that played like all the music videos from like Epitaph and like Hellcat bands, and it was on at like 1 a.m. or like midnight on Saturday nights on Channel 10.
That's so sick.
Yeah, so I would watch that all the time in junior high. So I kind of got into like all that stuff. And it's funny that I'm doing this Blink 182 thing, and I had told you like I wasn't a deep Blink 182 person. Because like the end of junior high is when I like totally got out of any like punk stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I was never really into like straight up like pop punk at all. Like when I got to like 8th grade, like I got into like metal, and then that was kind of it for that for me, I guess.
Fair.
But yeah, like I had like Punkorama TV, so I'd watch that and I'd be like, oh, this is cool. So when like Warped Tour was coming up and my friends were going, I was like, hell yeah, I want to go see AFI and Pennywise. Let's go.
Tight.
Yeah, so that was kind of like the first like big thing I went to, I guess.
But then you got into metal, so you didn't really like end up becoming like a punk snob who was only into like the hippest hardcore bands or whatever.
I never liked hardcore, and I never liked like punk or anything. Like that was kind of out the window when I got into like high school. I didn't really go into that until I became an adult. Now I can like look at that stuff and be like, oh yeah, this is good. But back then that wasn't my form of rebellious alternative music, I guess.
I guess that's interesting to me, and that might inform the way that you have this like this weird like wisdom about irony. Is if you grow up listening to metal, then you probably develop a higher tolerance for ridiculousness earlier on.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like no doubt about that.
That's sick. Well, yeah, okay, so you never really cared about Blink-182. Like, do you have any sort of, what is Blink-182 to you?
That, I feel like Blink-182 was like always like a band that like girls I thought were like cute, like in school liked or something. And that I never got into until like later. Like I liked the singles and stuff. Like I told you, like I loved like TRL and all that. Even when deep into metal, like I loved like pop music, so I knew the singles and stuff, but I never like owned a Blink-182 album in my life, which is a wild thing to say as a man at my age, because I don't think there's many people who've experienced that. But
it's true.
Yeah. But like now as an adult, like all the singles and stuff are great, and I enjoy them. Maybe not like the one that we're gonna go into. I will say is a wild thing, and that's probably not something I would put on like at my leisure. But like, yeah, going back in the catalog, like Adam's song is so hot. That one, actually, I could say like I really always liked Adam's song.
I mean, that's because it sounds like Metallica's One, doesn't it?
Like a really like rudimentary like
Yeah.
teenage version. Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's like Kids Bop Metallica One.
Yeah, I could see that. Apple juice, and yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, let's get into it. So I gave you two options of songs that, because knowing where you come from, having followed you online, I knew that you would be the person to talk about some of the cringiest moments of the catalog with. And so you picked this one out of the two I said. So, I mean, first of all, are you aware that
both of them off the new album, which I had heard some, obviously, and yeah,
we're talking about
but yeah,
these are deluxe. These are the additional material from the new album. So this was like on a bonus disc as well.
I didn't even feel like this weren't even like the ones like good enough to be on the
exactly
original release.
Yeah, this is like the year later cash grab reissue.
Hell yeah.
So you picked this one of the two, and you are aware that like Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio's in it now, right?
Yes, of course. I'm well aware of that.
Okay, so yeah, like what
very wild thing.
What stood out to you about this song, and like what's your vibe with it?
It is funny that like I knew people like when I was in high school and junior high where it was like that also weren't like particularly into Blink 182 because they were like into like real stuff like Alkaline Trio.
Right.
So it's like funny that like he's in Blink 182 now, which
Yeah.
is yeah, very funny. Um, the song is like so, like I said, never like deep in, but like listening to that, it doesn't even sound like a Blink 182 song that I would be familiar with, you know?
Yeah.
Like if I heard that song and it was like not like you could like definitely recognize like Mark Hoppus's voice on it. So you're like, okay. But if like it was a different slightly different voice on it, I don't think I would recognize that as a Blink 182 song.
I know, but like, what does it? I mean, we've already talked about some things we think it sounds like, but I'm curious to you, what does it sound like?
I don't even know. It's just like it sounds like just like the like a very like generic, just like current rock radio song. Like there's nothing. I don't know. There's nothing like that really stands out about it. It doesn't even really sound like a pop punk song, you know, or like
Yeah,
barely.
it's true. I mean, I think a lot of their new stuff sounds like HGTV or like House Hunters International, like
Yeah.
bed track kind of music.
Yeah, it does sound like here's like the overview of like the house you just bought, and like here's like the outside, and here's the bedrooms, and like yeah, it is very weird. And and as I said to the in the email to you, like listening to that song, it was like so insane to me to think about being like a 45-year-old man and writing that song.
I know it's fucked. Yeah, I guess I was gonna double check that, but yeah, Mark Hoppus is 46 years old. So
Yeah, so maybe he was like 43 when he wrote that, but like close enough. It's like okay.
I know, because we've just been talking about that too. Like opening a song with "Dearest Mom" is like
Yeah.
insane. I mean, actually, that phrase "Dearest Mom" does sort of have some Ronnie Radke vibes for me.
True, but also Ronnie, Mark's got a few years on Ronnie, for like a lot of years.
And also, as Mark gets older, I feel like his voice is getting lower as he's sort of blown out his voice.
Yeah, it does, but he still has that like very Southern California pop punk vocal sound that is so classic.
You're
Okay.
even you imitating it. I will let you know what we've said. It sounds like is American Hi-Fi Flavor of the Week. It has this. I think it's the same melody as that song.
Now, that's a great song right there.
Heavy Metal Parking Lot is in the video as well.
Oh, I've watched the video recently. Don't you worry. If I'll send it to you. I made a playlist on YouTube. This is like before Spotify. That's called like Teen High School Party where hijinks erupt or something, and that's one of the songs on there.
Oh my god, that's such a good genre.
Yeah, I think like Zebrahead's on there, and Sum 41, and yeah, American Hi-Fi. There's a lot of slaps on there.
That's really like an underrated era. Is like 2001 major label pop punk. Like it's not emo influenced yet, and it's not skate punk. It's just like it's just teen party. It's Red Cup music.
Yeah, if you haven't like sat at home and blasted Playmate of the Year by Zebrahead in a while, I recommend it.
Now, with American Hi-Fi, our big discovery this episode that we didn't realize before, you probably knew this because you're ahead, but I didn't realize that Flavor of the Week was spelled W-E-A-K.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking crazy. That adds so many layers of depth to that song.
And what band was the guy in before?
Oh, fuck.
Veruca Salt? Was he the drummer in Veruca
Yeah. And also he was in Letters to Cleo, which I remember they were in Parks and Rec, but I don't think that they're a real band in my mind.
Oh, no, there's some, that woman, she like did all the Josie and the Pussycat songs.
Oh, shit. So
she's the one who wrote and like does the vocals on those.
So this dude, Stacey Jones, is like, and he's also played with Miley Cyrus, so he's really like in the world of, he's like a major mall punk player.
Yeah, the American Hi-Fi guy? Yeah, exactly. For like 30 years at this point, which is sick.
and yet we're not criticizing him for being in his 40s, and yet there is something about Blink-182 where the ageism just can't be avoided, and I felt that way ever since like going away to college, and I know my co-host feels that way too. Where we're just like, don't pretend that you're still. Don't talk about lockers. Like, just don't talk about lockers anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's totally reasonable. And also, like, that song, like, the Flavor of the Week, that came out, like, 18 years ago. So it's, like, a little different, I guess, right?
True. Wow.
I don't know how old that guy was then, but I don't think he was 45 at that point, is my guess.
I wonder if they must have theoretically had other songs. I just don't think I've ever heard one.
I think they put out an album, and I think that was the one song. I've never heard another one.
Oh my god, this dude also produced Plain White Tees.
He's a legend.
That's crazy. Well, I respect him, and he inspired this blatant ripoff Blink-182 song.
Yeah, which is great. But yeah, so they may have done it a little better. Or maybe, who knows? Maybe in 18 years, I'll look back at this Blink-182 song and be like, you know what? Not so bad.
Well, as sort of a forefather of having a like Zen post-irony state that I'm striving towards now, does that mean like do you actually hate anything? Like, do you dislike this song, or do you think that it's just like not for you right now, but maybe with the right context, it'll be cool one day?
I mean, I don't know if it will be cool one day. It's hard to, you don't know with these things. I don't think the general public's going to look back and be like, that was the one. I don't think that's ever going to happen. It is. I don't know if the general public's going to look back on this album at all and be like, that's the one.
Although the fucked up thing we're learning is that a lot of people, this is their first Blink-182 album that they've ever heard.
That's insane to me.
So then you like imagine hearing about Blink-182 but not even knowing about Tom DeLonge.
That's really wild.
So it's sort of, I mean, the world is fucked when you look at it that way.
It is wild that like this album, it's like now there's one original member of band. So like potentially, yeah, if someone's hearing this, like I feel like there's so many people that don't even like realize that like Travis Barker is not even the original dude.
I know. And actually, many episodes ago, we realized that this dude Cam Jones replaced Mark Hoppus when they recorded their first demo because Mark Hoppus's girlfriend was like didn't want him to be with the band so much, so he went to hang out with his girlfriend, and he was replaced in the first demo. So actually, arguably, there's no original members.
That's great. That's like Napalm Death or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've known a lot of like Christian bands do that too, like Zayo and stuff. I think Under Oath also has no original members at this point.
Keep it going. Fuck it.
Yeah, why not? Have two Under Oaths touring. Why not?
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. What happened to the other guy then? The guy that's on the demo, the first demo.
I think, and well, it's sort of like an urban legend whether he's actually on it or not. But strangely, all the songs on the first demo are sung by Tom, and then on the second demo, Mark sings half of them. So the theory is that Mark broke up with his girlfriend and then came back. Cam Jones got the boot.
Damn. So we don't know where Cam's at now.
We don't know. I mean, it's a hard name to look up, but I do a lot of Facebook stalking for this podcast, so
fair enough.
Hopefully one day.
Yeah, one day get him on there.
I mean, the fucked up thing too is like people keep sending me all these messages and being like, "You can't talk about this on the podcast," but then telling me like the spiciest shit that's so good that I can't tell anyone. So,
have you ever done a live pod from Sombreros?
Not well. We do. There's this guy Bill Billingsley who is he's a man. He doesn't like when I call him a middle-aged man, but he is. I mean, he's like a dad's age. He's like an uncle, basically. Okay. He lives in San Diego. He became obsessed with the podcast. So he
shout out to him then right now.
Shout out to Bill Billingsley all the time. He gets shouted out basically every episode. For example, he went to a Tom DeLonge book signing about one of his space books and wore a shirt where he had written Blink-155 on it and got a picture of like Tom pointing at the shirt.
Oh, nice.
And so we made those our shirts. And then he bought Travis Barker's car and like just so that he could do a meet and greet with Travis. I think he just bought it so that he could talk about it on here. So we let him come on and talk about it. So he did a special tour of sombreros just for us, actually. So
I've gone before.
this is a good moment for me to plug our Patreon. If you want to watch that Bill video, it's patreon.com/Blink155. But you've also been. So how was it?
It's like a San Diego Mexican restaurant. There's a very specific like San Diego style of Mexican food.
Really?
Yeah, kind of with like kind of like runny refried beans and like California burrito is a big thing. If you know what that is.
Of course, I do know what it is, but I feel like our mutual friend Jacob has subtweeted me before for liking the California burrito because it's not a true head sort of thing to like.
It's fair enough. Yeah, there's a very specific like San Diego style of like Mexican food, I guess, which sombreros is. So yeah.
So it's like, is it like it's kind of shittier, but it's not Tex-Mex? Is that right?
It's not Tex-Mex, and it's definitely not going for like authentic. It's hard to describe, I guess.
That's why we all have to go at one point. I mean, I'm sure I'll make it there at one point.
Yeah, everyone listening, if you're around Southern California, like any place with like a drive-through where you can get like, you know, fried like potato tacos and with a side of like beans and rice, that's probably your spot.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up here. What are your final thoughts about like either Blink-182 or just like the state of culture? I mean, no, actually, here's my question. How do you age gracefully if you're part of alternative culture? What are you supposed to do?
That's a tough question. I don't even know. I don't. Yeah, that's a very tough thing. What would you say?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I feel like probably Blink-182 should do an album with Rick Rubin and get Scott back and like,
Wow. Okay.
like sort of a back to. I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like Smashing Pumpkins are doing pretty good with it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But like Smashing Pumpkins was like always kind of like an old people band, or like they were never like. I don't know.
It's confusing. I don't know. I think maybe what I'm learning is that I don't like punk.
Yeah, because I feel like some bands like what they do they could just do it forever. Like if a new Korn album came out and there wasn't like some like da boom da ding, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like you want Jonathan Davis to do that forever. Doesn't matter how old he is. But like it's something weird about like Mark Hoppus being like 45 and like doing that. I don't know. Maybe it's just like pop punk. I have no idea. And maybe that's just my thing.
Yeah, because I think also like history has proven that it's working for them. They did a Vegas residency and they're nominated for a Grammy, but I don't know.
Well.
Yeah, and maybe that's always the thing is that the problem is just the listener. We just don't get it. And that's why Imagine Dragons are actually good.
Oh, man. Every time it comes on, I'm like, crank it up.
That song Thunder is like so sick.
Lightning and the thunder. Boom, boom. Oh yeah, that one's. There's another thing. If you're ever in Los Angeles, on weekend nights on K-Rock, which is the local alternative rock station, legendary alternative rock station here, they have a DJ show, which is this DJ who just it's the greatest show on the radio going currently, and I have never told this to anyone, but I'm telling you now. He DJs like remixes of like Imagine Dragons into like a fucking Ice Cube song, into like some EDM song, into like My Chemical Romance. And it's just like an hour, like 2 hours of this, and it's
my god.
Like I'm sure you could stream it on the internet, but it's really worth checking out.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, huge recommendation for everyone.
K-Rock
weekends DJ night thing is the most insane thing on the radio I've ever heard.
That sounds fantastic.
But it's always Imagine Dragons into like Kanye West remixes or something, into like a weird EDM remix of like Mr. Brightside. You're like, oh, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah. I will like drive around just like listen to it sometimes because it's so mind blowing.
That sounds amazing. Okay, well, and then finally, is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want people to check out?
I feel like you plugged me already.
You make music too, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I guess I do.
I'm trying to force a plug out of you.
I put out an album this year with my weird all hardware like industrial rap group, Charge It to the Game, that I do all the production for. That's all hardware synths and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, album's called House with a Pool. Yeah,
There you go.
that's something to check out. Yeah, there's a plug.
There's a plug, and then all the social media I mentioned earlier. Check it out, everyone. Let's cleanse ourselves from irony and just like everything now.
Just like stuff. Why it's out there. People like it. That's why it's popular. It's good.
I just want to say whoa because I forgot that the outro of this Blink-182 song does have extraneous whoas. You think that you've made it to the end, and then there is some sort of whoa
they drop them
part.
in. So just like this pod, I get it. You should tack that on
Yeah.
again after the guest intro. Or do the
Right,
guest
okay.
and then do like add some woes at the end. It's like a sweet tag. And people who listen all to the end will like forget about it by the time they get
Except
there.
if they've heard this
No,
part.
but they'll be
might
like, oh, that's funny. But like in 10 minutes, they're going to forget that this conversation happened.
But what if I keep this part of the
No, you
conversation
do. Keep
in as
this
well?
part in. Keep everything in. Don't lose any of this, man.
Like, what if I just, after I paste in the guest part, I just repaste the entire
I think
episode
you should do
after?
that. Just start it all again.
Oh, wait. There we go. Now I am.
You're good?
See, I forgot.
Oh, okay.
My mic was off for a second. This is so awkward. It's like we're fumbling around in the dark together because we forget how to.
I've forgotten your body, Josiah.